Hello and welcome. Welcome to Marketing for Success Show. I'm Karen Barker, your host, and my special guest today is Brook McCarthy. Hi, Brook. How are you doing?
Hi. Good. Thank you, Karen. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you here. So this is a show, guys, if you haven't been on here before, if you haven't watched us on this show before, where we talk about marketing tips and techniques, tools, and all the kind of things that you need to know if you've actually got a business and you need to market your business. It's not something that everybody's good at, and we'll talk about that in a second. But it's definitely something you've got to have if you've got a business. You can't sit at home and wait for the phone to ring, for sure. So, Brook, you are a business coach and a digital marketing trainer, right?
That's right. Yep.
So tell us a bit about where you are and what you do.
So I've been self-employed for 11 years now, and prior to being self-employed, I was a PR consultant. And then 11 years ago, when I started my business, I got into digital marketing. It was all very new then, and I was very much kind of learning on the job. And I was kind of lucky with my timing, I guess, that I was riding the wave of social media marketing as well. So around the time that I started, Facebook was really becoming quite big. Mm-hmm. I had a background as well. I also have a background in yoga teaching. So I've been a yoga teacher for 20 plus years. And that's why I chose to specialize in health and more narrowly in alternative health. So for 7 years, I specialized in alternative health. And then I rebranded and broadened myself a little, broadened my niche a little. But I still get a lot of health related clients as well as creative clients, and most of my clients come to me because they're a bit overwhelmed. There's so many tactics and techniques and technology. So I run courses around Australia teaching people blogging for business, social media marketing, how to put a sales page together, and how to promote yourself online, without kind of rocking in a corner going, it's too much.
Oh, yes. Yes, they are. That's awesome. That's awesome because you've come from a health practitioner background, so you know what it's like to be at the coalface of having a business that you've got to sell to people in a physical way. That's awesome. Now, today, we're going to be talking about value-based business marketing, aren't we? So for people that aren't familiar with that, just give us a little bit of a background to what that is.
So using your values as I call it a GPS to help you make decisions in business and also to help you market yourself. Because what I have seen is that a lot of people that work in health, they feel very strongly about what they do. They are there for all the right reasons. They have, acres of passion. They very much see it as a vocation rather than a business. And their desire to make a profit tends to be priority number, 3, 4, or 5. So therefore, they can often really, really struggle when it comes to sales and marketing, and particularly when it comes to putting themselves out there and putting their face, on camera, and talking about what they do. So I find that rather than kind of let this impede you, rather than let your sensitivity or your values be an impediment to business, bring it to the fore and use it as a GPS to kind of guide the decisions that you're making and also to help you stand out amongst a crowded marketplace.
That's great. That's a really good intro to it. In terms of, because, health practitioners both familiar to both of us, what specifically would you say is, if for somebody just starting out or somebody that isn't that good at marketing, and like you said, there are so many different ways that you can do marketing these days, either on or off social media. What would you say in terms of using value-based marketing, in terms of standing out from the crowd and giving value to the people? Of course, health practitioners are great at giving value. That's what they do all the time. They help people. But when you're marketing, it's having a different hat on, isn't it? It's being in a different kind of role because you're actually trying to sell yourself and your business, but not directly. You kind of tell us a little bit about that, how value-based or driven kind of marketing would work in that kind of scenario.
Well, I think the first thing is that most people mistakenly believe, it's pretty common to believe that marketing is about promoting yourself and it's about you. And so naturally we feel self-conscious. Naturally we feel inhibited. Naturally we feel like a bit of a doofus, and putting ourselves out there and talking about ourselves. But what I'm teaching is basically empathy. And when you focus more on who is it that I'm seeking to attract, who is that specific person, how can I dive really deep into the psychographics of that group of people, and also what problems am I seeking to solve. When you become a little bit obsessive about the problem seeking to solve, then it becomes far easier, because all of a sudden it's not about you. It's not, who am I and what do I do and how great I am. It's about, you're talking about the problems that you're seeking to solve, and you are an adjunct to solving those problems. You are, you are the second story rather than the first story. So I find that's really, really useful for helping health practitioners get over their natural inclination to feel shy or to feel inhibited or self-conscious. Insofar as the specifics of how you would start to understand your values, it's really about self-reflecting on what's important to you, and to go beyond the obvious. So the obvious being, I want to help people. The obvious being, I have a certain skill set. I'm a physiotherapist. I'm an osteopath. I'm a massage therapist. And to go a bit deeper than that and say, okay, well, what are my personal values, and how can I bring those to the fore? Because that's going to help you differentiate yourself. So, for example, for me, it's important that the people that I work with share my sense of humor. It's important that they find me funny. And not all jokes work, but for me, business can be very serious, and it can be a bit of a downward spiral sometimes when we start to take our business and ourselves very seriously. So for me, humor is important. So how do I use that practically? I like to think I'm humorous in my email newsletters. Of course, it will repel people, and it should do. Effective marketing should repel people. Effective marketing should attract a group and repel a group of around the same size, and then the rest will be indifferent. Whereas ineffective marketing does neither. It's just not noticed. It's kind of lost in the scroll of information that we have coming at us every day.
I think that's important. Like, two things there really stood out. One is that, take the pressure off yourself. A lot of people don't do, for example, live video work or show themselves on screen because, like you said, they're too worried about making mistakes, too worried about offending people, too worried about being self-conscious. But if you take the pressure off yourself and you say, look, this is not about me. This is about providing value for and connecting with an audience who can really connect with me because they're like who I am, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I think the thing is, you can look at sales and marketing through the lens of it's pushy, it's manipulative, it takes money away from people. Or you can look at it through the lens of you are communicating because you are motivated to help people, and you are putting yourself into a situation which is not necessarily convenient or comfortable for you. And you're doing that because it's for the greater good. It's for a greater benefit beyond your initial discomfort. So before we started recording today, I had some tech hiccups. It was annoying. It was time consuming. It was inefficient. It was painful. And I persevered because, I feel that if I can help one person today, if they can listen to this and take something useful from it, and that motivates them to change something, then it will be worth it. So that, there has to be, the second lens is, you do what you do out of love, because it would be easy to quit. It's actually easier to say, marketing's too hard. I feel like an idiot. If people really needed me, they will find me. If my work is that good, it will be self-evident and it will sell itself. That's the easy way. Yeah, that's the kind of default position. So, if you persevere with marketing and sales, you need to be somebody who's doing it for the right reasons, who's doing it because there's a sense of selflessness about it.
Yes. So it's thinking way beyond yourself and your audience and what they need and what you can give value to their lives. Absolutely. And so what was, there was another thing that you said that I was going to pick up on, but I can't remember what it was now. We've talked about so many other things since, but so to take some steps to be able to move out of your comfort zone, to be able to say, look, it's not about me. Because sometimes that's pretty stifling when you think
massively stifling.
It kind of freezes people and it makes them think, oh, I can't do this. It's not going to be possible,
Absolutely.
And then feeling overwhelmed by it all. But it actually doesn't have to be that hard, does it?
No, and, I think by default, if I can generalize here, a lot of people that work in health tend to be very sensitive people. They tend to be empathetic people by nature, and therefore it can be very damaging because they put themselves out there, they don't get the response that they want to be getting or that they expect to be getting, and then they retreat. So a lot of what I teach people to do, I teach digital marketing and business development, but really what I'm teaching is confidence, courage, and self-care. Because, I'm not saying you should put yourself out there all the time and you should get on camera and you should start doing Facebook Lives every day. That's a terrible idea. Steps forward, you do something brave, you push yourself out of your comfort zone, you feel a bit scared, and you feel a bit scared because it's important, because it matters to you, because the work that you're doing is necessary and needed and urgent work. And then you look after yourself. So one thing I talk about quite a lot with my clients is that, we don't use social media to build your self-esteem. Don't use social media for self-esteem. No. You have hopefully a small group of friends and family. Not all friends and family are supportive. Not all friends and family understand the trials and tribulations of self-employed people. So you need to be able to know that. I don't talk to my parents, even though my father's self-employed. I do not talk to my father about what I do for a living because for one reason or another, it truly is extremely unuseful. So it's useful to pick that inner sanctum of people that make you feel good about yourself, that tell you you're wonderful, that tell you that you're loved and supported. And when you do something scary, you go back to that small group and you seek, assurance if needed.
Yes. That's awesome. We have reached the end of the show already. How fast has that gone? Very
quickly.
But how can people learn more from you, Brooke? How can they get onto one of your trainings or get onto one of your programs so that they can learn more from you?
So my main website is hustleandheart.com.au. I've got lots of free resources on there, including free video trainings that you can access, where I talk in more depth and detail about how to communicate your point of difference, how to figure out what your point of difference is, how to communicate your value, and also how to deal with that plethora of emotions. So, a little bit like we've been talking about with self-care, so that you can put yourself out there, you can be big and brave and bold, and, not burn yourself out, not kind of crash and burn quickly. So hustleandheart.com.au is the main website, and I have programs and courses running around Australia, mainly Sydney and Melbourne, but I do go beyond that to Adelaide and Brisbane. And I have a big online program which starts shortly. So people can check that out at hustleandheart.com.au/program.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you today and learning. I always learn something from my shows. I always aim to, and I have for sure. So, we'll let you get on with your day and wish you well. And no doubt we'll be talking again soon. Thanks for joining us.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Karen.
You're welcome. Bye. So that was Brooke.
How was that?
Brooke, I'm just going to kind of do a roundup just to kind of shout out to Brooke, because Brooke's taking the time out to talk to us today about values-based marketing, value-based business. Now, if you don't know what it is, if you still need a little bit more encouragement to go out there and to get yourself seen, stand out from the crowd, get your USP, get yourself heard, and most importantly, adding value to your people that you're actually talking to, do connect with Brooke on the links that I'll put on the show notes after the show. Thanks for joining us if you did, and we will definitely see you again on the next show. All the best. Take care for now. Bye-bye.